And
Sure.
start recording.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I wanted to welcome you today, and the theme is joy. And I wanted to say we kind of talked about this ahead of time. Just a word of, when a tragedy happens, like that air crash today, it can feel really heavy, and it can almost feel like we don't have permission to feel joy when there's, misery and suffering. So maybe taking a moment of silence just to think of suffering and, think or pray for the people involved might be hurting. And kind of coming back, we're going to begin with our traditional start in just a second, but I wanted to sort of address what we mean by joy. That is not about just kind of happy, happy, joy, joy, or forcing yourself to smile or be happy when you're grieving. This class is about, getting your groove back. And sometimes we feel like when we're in a state of, grief or anxiety or depression that we almost don't have permission to feel joy, or we don't notice that we're actually experiencing those moments throughout the day. And so this is from this movie, getting your how Stella got her groove back, and I like the name of that movie. It kind of has that theme of giving oneself permission, so that you don't fall into kind of a pit of misery that you can't quite get out of. And this came across my social media today, and I thought it was kind of apt. My depression when catches you having a good time, you almost feel like you might sabotage your own efforts. And I think that there was a good example from the Dalai Lama, one of the first conferences I went to in 2001, these dialogues about meditation and research. The organizer of the meeting was actively dying. He had planned to present at that meeting, but he was really on his deathbed, and the video live stream was going to him. This was in 2001, before that was an easy task. And the Dalai Lama came out and he looked at the camera, which camera is Francisco Varela? And he said, Francisco, I am, so sad to hear that, what is happening. And I have this deep feeling, you know, and there was not a dry eye in the room. He talked about, his friendship and the times that they had had. And we were all, tearing up. And then we kind of had this moment where we sat with that grief. And then he brought his hands together. And he's like, all right, his face lit up. He's like, let's get on with the meeting. And I think that's what we mean by joy, that, you're not pushing down the emotion, but you're allowing yourself to feel. So I thought on this day it deserved a little acknowledgement. So we're going to begin by taking our seat of posture and sitting with the feelings that we do have right now, and having our feet on the ground, our spine of dignity, and setting our intention for the class today. Maybe it's what you wrote. Maybe it's a specific one for today. And now the 5-point check.
Hi, friends. So moving into the 5-point check, allowing yourself to drop into sensation in the body. Perhaps just taking a short scan, whether that's, letting things waterfall down from the top of the head, checking in with the body down to the feet. Or perhaps you feel it a little more moving out center to periphery, just noticing out from center of spine, belly, out to the limbs of the body. Nothing to judge. Hello, body. And then now drifting your attention a little more internally to the center of you, your breathing body, and how is it showing up today, this moment? Nothing to force. Sensing your breath, perhaps in and out through the nose, or if you're a little congested today, smooth breathing out through the mouth. Any movement of the breath that feels smooth or maybe a little constricted. And we're witnessing, observing, breathing in the body. Hello, breath. Thank you. And as you watch the breath, naturally turning on the attention of the mind, the thoughts, the patterns of consciousness, any words, images coming to light in the foreground or sometimes in the background or off stage on the side saying, hey, hi, I'd like to be heard today. Thank you, mind, for your creativity, your words, your wisdom. And a layer more into the energy or to the emotions. From the mind, we carry in the quality of mind, mood, emotions, feeling. Where is your mood meter today? Is there a word, a label, a quality of emotion that you could validate? And it's all okay, as Laurel beautifully shares every time we meet. Emotions are expressions that want to be seen and felt. There's wisdom there as well. Thank you, emotions. And emotions close at hand with the energy. Where's your energy? Does it feel a little more down-regulated? Up-regulated? You feel pretty even? Witness, observe. And the totality of it all, 5 points: body, breath, mind, emotions, energy, the wholeness of you. 3 more breaths. And in this connection to self, connection to you, your energy, we're going to shift into the movement practice of the half sun salute. So if you want to take that seated or standing, last week we practiced both. So I'll take this from standing, landing into your feet, mountain pose, affirming your stance into the ground. So if you're seated, you can still feel the feet grounding into the floor. Start to charge up the energy, the tone in the physical body of your legs, and let that keep moving up to the top of your head. And if you could sit or stand just a little bit taller. Paying attention to the rhythm of your breath as we start to move with it. On your next inhale, arms will sweep out and up any amount. As you exhale, soften your knees, hinge your hips, start to fold, hands slide down the side of your legs any bit. Breathe in, come halfway up. Hands could rest to the thighs, spine long, legs long. Exhale, back into your fold, look to the earth. Ground your feet. Charge up your legs. Inhale, stand tall, a burst of energy. Arms by your side, exhale. Let's do one more just with rhythm and flow. Breathe in, tall mountain. Exhale, gently fold, soft knees, release forward. Halfway up, strong through the legs, support your spine. Exhale, release, softly fold. Press through the feet, inhale, tall mountain, long up through the body. Arms by your side, exhale. Settle in, observing breath, body, energy. And now shifting to Laurel as she guides us into our mindful minute.
Yes, yes, hello. So let's just stay in this interoception mode and close our eyes if that's comfortable, or a fuzzy gaze downward. And then just be with your breath, flowing in and out effortlessly. And we'll just sit in silence, holding this space together for 1 minute. Thank you. Slowly guiding your awareness back to your room. Open your eyes if they're closed. And just notice how you're feeling. And however you're feeling is okay. No judgment of good or bad. I'd like to open up for a little bit of sharing right now. If you would like to post in the chat, or we'd love to hear your voice too. So, how you thought the week was for you, what came up for you, what practices benefited you, anything you'd like to share about how this past week was for you and in relation to this class.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can share that through chat, through
Right.
voice, or as Julie shared last week, if it's just an emoji you want to share. Let us see how you're feeling or how you respond to last week.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of you participated in the Qualtrics, right, Julie? So we did get some feedback.
Yeah, I hesitate to share without permission, but it was really beautiful to read your responses. We look at them without the name attached, so we don't know who's, um, uh, you know, what voice. But if you want to share something that you recall writing in there, I mean, I was really touched. Multiple people talked about doing this for themselves and for their patient or for their family. Taking time for themselves and they were really burned out. And it was just really nice to see this kind of range of people thinking deeply about their lives. So if you want to share, please. Oh, someone has shared.
Yeah, a very stressful week with training new staff and a lot going on. Yeah, that is stressful, and you're in the right place. I'm glad you're here and you're honoring yourself and taking care of yourself. Yeah. And then another comment, great to have these tools an hour together during these stressful times. Yes, coming together, holding space. Yes, yes, thank you, Donna. And now, Brooke, very relaxed week compared, way less meetings to last week, more time to reflect and be mindful throughout the day. Yoga every morning. Wonderful, wonderful.
It's wonderful to take those opportunities when then you'll be more prepared for when those busy, stressful times come.
Yes, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. Someone else said I had a good week, even when busy. Mountain pose, deep breathing and stretches have helped. It's the little things in life. And as we get older, we realize it's the little things in life. Like Heidi says, it's not a lot of movement. It's just some movement. Yeah. And then renovation starting in a building, trying to find storage of our supplies and cleaning equipment. Sounds challenging.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Okay. We're going to chat again. So we're definitely going to chat again. But let's move on now to some inner yoga, Heidi.
Yeah. Hello. I'm going to spotlight myself again. Just to make sure I am available for everyone to see. Hello. So, on our theme today of kind of awakening joy, getting our groove back, we're going to do some movements to kind of become that conduit of joy. So I'm going to be standing, but again, always know that you can be seated, and also always know that if you just want to watch, to listen, to close your eyes and imagine yourself doing it, that's super powerful too, right? So from here, I invite you to take a moment as you land back into either your seated mountain or standing mountain, to take both hands. It doesn't matter which one touches first, but both hands, and rest them down at the center of your chest. And I invite you to start by just listening to a few of these phrases and see which one speaks to you the most today. And perhaps let that be some fuel as we move our body and breath. I am a conduit of joy. I welcome curiosity and wonder to see joy in this moment. I am worthy of experiencing joy. Perhaps one of those speaks to you, or a new phrase is popping up. Or sometimes a simplicity of joy. Joy. Letting that be an affirmation, a word on repeat. So we're going to start tapping that word, phrase, a little joy, cheer. And doing a physical tapping along the body starts to wake up that neuromuscular system, and also wake up the fascia system, which gives that hug around all of our organs and muscles. So from hands at the heart, we're going to release. And I'm going to invite you to very softly bend your knees. You might even like to broaden your feet a little bit. And you're going to come down just to the side of your legs. And I'm just using real soft palms. And you're going to start just tapping maybe real easily around your lower legs, your shins, maybe around the back of your knees. We have some, pretty powerful lymph nodes back there. Maybe up the back of the legs, and as you come higher, maybe you start to stand or sit a little taller, maybe the front of the thighs. And then perhaps now you're getting a little higher, you can stand and tap around your outer hips. Maybe very gently, you'd like to tap around and then the back rim of the hips up into the lower back. Greeting the belly, little taps, or maybe tapping ceases so that you can give a little love. Hello, belly. And then from the belly, we're going to cross hands and greet the shoulders, and then give the shoulders a little tap, and then tap down the arm. And then it kind of gets a little awkward, so then start to shift to just one hand. And now I'm switching to my fingers, and I'm just giving little taps around the arm. Finding any sweet spots, or like, oh yeah, wake up, hello arm. Maybe tap to the inside of your palm. And then you can switch. Maybe move from the palm on the other hand, up the arm. And there's no big agenda. It's just being present, tapping either with the palm or the fingers. All right. And then from here, invite both hands to come back to heart center, and we'll do some finger tapping at the sternum. So the mighty sternum, little pats, whether it's one hand tapping on the other or in sync with each other. A few love taps here. Hello, sternum. Right beneath the sternum, hello, thymus gland. Off to the left, hello, greeting to the heart, a generator, conduit of joy as well, and the heart energy. And thank you, heart, for the physical act of giving and receiving throughout my body. And then start to slow down the tapping. Just little pitter pats to slow it down, and you'll return to one hand over the other. Pausing here and welcoming back in presence of your word or phrase. Mine today is, I am a conduit of joy. Quietly state your phrase. And then release your arms. Right. And invite your hands to rest at your hips. We'll add a little bit of movement here into the body. Again, if you're seated, you can just keep the legs as they are and move into the trunk of the body. If you are standing, we're going to take the right foot slightly forward, left foot slightly back. Nothing too big. Real simple movement as you stand here. And now with your left hand, invite your left hand all the way up to the ceiling. I'll turn a little more so you can see me here. Press down into your feet. Hug the muscles of your legs so you feel steady. And lean a little or a lot to your right. Maybe spark some joy with your breath into the left side of your body. And then bring it back up. Nice. From here with your left arm, bring it straight out in front like you want to shake somebody's hand. Come on, shake my hand. And now start to turn to your right a little. And as you turn to your right, that left hand might actually slide a little towards me on the computer screen. And turn a little more to the right. Heart space moves more to the right. Right hand on your hip, press through your feet, breathe your spine long. And then let that go. Left hand will come back to your hip. From here, right foot's going to stay, left foot will step up to meet it. Short little tree. With your left leg, invite the toes to turn out. Your heel is going to rest into that lower shin, ankle area. Feel the left toes, ball of the foot press down. And then use that, both feet root so you can stand a little taller. Hands could stay at your hips, or release your arms and let your branches do something different. We'll be here 2 more breaths. Balancing postures can kind of tip the meter into, oh man, I'm gonna wobble and fall, and also like, oh, it's kind of fun to find my balance. All right, let's bring the hands down to meet the hips, release out through your left foot. Maybe a little reshift, shake it out. We'll set up for the other side. So now you'll step forward with your left foot, right foot slightly back. Right. We'll keep here with the right hand onto your hip and then reach on up. Left hand on your hip and then reach on up with the right hand. Did I do that? I'm splitting that the other way. From here. There we go. Now we're into it. Left foot forward. I'm trying to mirror you all. Let's lean over to the left and breathe some joy into the right side of the body. A little humor goes a long way. Mixing up right and lefts. And then bring yourself out of the pose. Now with your right arm, reach it straight forward like you want to shake somebody's hand. Stand into your feet. And now very slowly, just start to turn. The hips will move a little, belly and ribs will move as you turn here. And then reach a little bit more through that right hand. Spine tall as you root your feet. And then bring that back around. And then as you come back around, right hand will meet your hip. Right foot now will step up, land both feet next to each other, and set up for your little tree. Right foot, turn it out, toes out to the side, heel can rest into that lower shin ankle region. Press down into the toes, a little stretch for your toes, ball of the foot rooting down, and then both feet root so the trunk of your tree can stand taller. And again, a few breaths. If you'd like to adapt and shape your tree, shift your branches, even the 10 little leaves up there, say hello. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Morgantown. So just imagine the leaves of your fingers like, hey, bring in the sunshine. And then when you're ready, let's release hands to your hips and then release your right foot and re-greet your mountain pose. It might feel nice to give yourself a little shift out. All right. So now I'd like to teach you a breathing practice. Now that we've kind of generated some energy into our legs, our conduit of joy, moving up our spine into our limbs of the arms. Breath of joy is what I'd like to offer today. And it's a little more rhythmic and energizing. Breath of joy uses a 3-part inhale with a long exhale. It also syncs up movement of the arms, like an orchestra conductor, with a big forward fold. Now, it will take just a little bit of kind of doing it a few times, kind of moving through that awkward phase if you're new to this, and then you'll start to find the pattern and rhythm. Before we start, let's first just back up and learn the part of the breath. So as you are, just as you are, notice your body breathing. And as I shared, breath of joy creates a 3-part inhale. So as you start your next inhale, inhale just a little and pause. Inhale a little more, pause. Inhale the rest of the way, pause. And now out through your mouth, long exhale. Let it go. Inhale a little more. All the way. Long exhale out. Try that one more time. Inhale a little, like a little sniff of air, a little more. Breathe it all in. Long exhale. Let it go. All right, let your body breathe. That's how we're going to breathe in breath of joy. Now the arm movements before we sync it with the breath. You'll stand in mountain, or you could be seated, feet about hip width apart, or even a little bit wider. Arms, on that first inhale, you'll take it forward, and then that second inhale, out to the side like a T. Last inhale, fill yourself up full of breath, and then your big exhale, soften your knees, waterfall to a fold, and then lift yourself right back up to that first inhale. Inhale, inhale, big exhale. And that's breath of joy. I'll do one round to demo, and then we'll pause and sync up together for 5 rounds. This is what it looks like. And then you forward fold. Now that is my pace for breath of joy. You might sync to that, or feel free to breathe a little slower through your breath of joy. All right, you ready? Okay, as you settle into your mountain or seated mountain, connect to your breath, steady into your feet. Arms rest by your side. We'll do 5 rounds. On that last round, when you come up to that last inhale, you're just going to inhale full and nourish yourself with breath. All right, here we go. Starting here, inhale, 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 big exhale, waterfall. Inhale, 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 exhale. This is the last one. Big inhale. Hang out up top. Hold yourself with joy. Exhale. Melt the arms. Let your body breathe. Notice body, breath. Notice the energy that is you, the conduit of joy, worthy of joy, wonderment of joy. Invite your hands back to your heart center. Key part of breath of joy. It is up-regulating, giving you a little fuel, and it's great for your lymphatic system. And I notice it's great for my sinuses today, freeing things up. But it's really great to recalibrate. Recalibrate to find a little more neutral. So can you sense your feet to the ground as you sit or stand in your mountain? Sense the rhythm of your breath in your ribs and belly. And then mentally allow yourself, say, I'm down, shifting now. Allow the breath and tempo of the experience to just smooth out. So that as we move on to the next activity with Julie, you feel anchored back into the body and calm through the breath. Thank you, friends, for allowing me to share this practice of breath of joy with you. And now we'll shift to Julie for a compassion meditation.
Thank you, Heidi. So it's important to have that sense of foundation of being in your body, being in touch with yourself. So do this practice to the degree you feel comfortable, as Heidi mentioned, taking into account the 5-point check you might have done earlier, maybe rechecking yourself now. So this practice is about cultivating a feeling of loving kindness for others, and it can be a very joyful experience as it uses our emotions to feel a warm-hearted sensation, which naturally feels good. We want to begin this imaginative exercise by thinking of someone that naturally sparks joy for us, a loved one that's not a complicated feeling, like they would walk into a room and you might light up, right? It might be a child or a friend or parent or grandparent, significant other, someone that just warms your heart. And taking a minute to think, decide on that person, and imagine the very things that you know bring joy to that person. Because they are a loved one, we can recall a memory of, them enjoying something in their life. Maybe it's time with you, or maybe it's doing their favorite activity, of sports, or a holiday. Just having their morning coffee with a friend. Take a moment in your mind's eye, or if you're, don't like to visualize, just having that sense of, oh yeah, I really, felt so warm seeing them happy. And then create that wish or a prayer if you're more comfortable, of them having more and more moments of joy in their life. As they're your loved one, you want them to be happy. Try to lean into that feeling a bit of what it would really be like if you're in the presence of your loved one experiencing joy. If it's a child, their eyes are lighting up in excitement, or they're really appreciating the simple pleasures of life, like a book or their favorite activity or sport. Try to amplify that feeling. Noting that it takes practice, and also some days it can be more challenging than others. So whatever you feel, it's how you're feeling. And if it's frustration, imagining alleviation of that. Try to, as you amplify it, feeling that sense of warmth that you would feel in their presence. Then coming back to your body, coming back to your sense of feet on the ground, that seated mountain pose. And next, we're going to think of an acquaintance, someone that you might have that you know well enough that you might have seen a picture of them, maybe in their workspace, maybe on social media, of them enjoying something that they love, like time with their family or a vacation. Picture at the top of a mountain or hiking trail or kayaking. When you have this in mind, imagine that this acquaintance or more neutral person is able to also experience joy, tapping again into that feeling you might have had with your loved one. They have more and more experiences and get to spend time doing the things that they love most about life, that give them joy and happiness. Now expand this feeling to all of us here. We all are worthy of joy. So whatever stresses we have, or that we have a wish for that to be alleviated or melted, that everyone here can experience joy and see that sun come out from behind the clouds. And don't forget, you are here too. So it's shining some of that light onto yourself. If the worthy of joy statement that Heidi shared was a challenging one for you, think of your loved one and how they would love seeing you happy, love seeing you smile and enjoy life. It's not like a forced smile again. It's naturally being able to enjoy nature or time with family, whatever sparks joy for you. And then increasing that feeling of radiating loving kindness and wish for joy to all of us here and kind of beyond, just a general wish that all may experience joy. To bring it to any crescendo that you might feel, and also not worrying if it feels a little confusing or doesn't come to you today. And then coming back into your stable mind and body, feeling your feet on the ground. Sometimes call this the mindfulness sandwich. Even when we generate positive emotions, it's good to anchor them in equanimity and peace. Strong spine, warm heart. And now I'm going to move into a little bit of science behind that, in hopes that it can help you kind of remind yourself of why it can be beneficial. So when we experience emotion, we're using a very ancient part of our brain, one we share with even like mice or even dinosaurs. It's an area that we have a huge cortex. I'm a neuroscientist. And this prefrontal cortex allows us to be the master of ourselves, the master of a reward system. But it takes some practice, and it's the self-awareness that we have as a human being is relatively new as a tool. And, when we use this tool incorrectly, it can cause us to harm ourselves. And we often use self-awareness to hate on ourselves. Oh gosh, I made this mistake. I'm so stupid. That kind of thing. Or this person did this to me. You can get really wrapped up in using that instead of for cultivating positive emotions, for really amplifying the negative. And this is called rumination. And this rumination is like a cow chewing their cud. That's what it's named after, where we, in the middle of the night, we're berating ourselves about, what we did in sixth grade or something. Ties into all these depression and anxiety networks and really uses so much resources that we can barely think. We can become forgetful. We can become very miserable and bogged down as if that misery is a monolith. Well, Barbara Fredrickson did a really interesting study that's become quite a classic. This is from 2008, and it's other studies have verified these results. But she had people who had never meditated before do this compassion practice, the loving kindness practice that we just did. So they never, they're just learning it, and they did it over the course of 8 weeks. And she had them report all sorts of types of emotions, negative and positive, and found that the group that did the loving kindness meditation, it wasn't just loving kindness that increased. It was amusement, all like Heidi said, wonder, all in wonder, contentment, joy, gratitude, hope, interest, love, pride. So this engagement of these positive, the brain network for positive emotions, when it's engaged in positive emotions, it's not at that moment thinking of negative things. And her theory is, it's sort of been panned out by brain research, that it increases the positive emotions, and then it increases the resources that we have in our own brain for creativity, for joy, for spark. And this leads to an increase in life satisfaction. A couple of weeks ago on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I did a contemplation on this quote that he experienced all this suffering, right? And at some point there was a juncture where he felt, I can either react with bitterness, things like bitterness, resentment, or I can seek to transform into a creative force. And then that creative force, whether it's in our personal lives or on a larger scale, takes this increase in resource. So giving ourselves permission to find humor, to, cultivate that pattern and habit of warm-heartedness and loving kindness for doing these practices, for doing the breath of joy and kind of getting our body moving. These things will increase our resources and allow us to have that spark in life. So, this is just showing that this is Ali Rezai is a WVU neurosurgeon who implanted directly electrodes into the brain reward area and prefrontal cortex. And the Richie Davidson's lab that I did my postdoc in, they trained people to do the same meditation that we just did and found that those same two areas are strengthened. So we have that prefrontal control and that reward that comes from thinking loving thoughts about others. It's very powerful and transformative to ourselves. We're not just doing it for others. So I wanted to make that. But one word of caution is that if you hold on too tightly to joyful moments, you kind of destroy the winged life. He who binds himself to a joy does the winged life destroy, but he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise. And, being able to notice those beautiful moments. Heidi, do you want to share the story of when you went cross-country skiing a few weeks ago?
Oh, yeah. Can you all hear me?
I'm putting her on the spot.
Okay, I didn't know if I was muted. No, it's fine. I thought I was muted, but I'm not. Yeah, so when we had that huge snowstorm, I went cross-country skiing with my husband, and we were at the Botanic Gardens, and just everything was just that wonderful covering of snow, all the trees, the ground, everything. And it was just taking those moments of pause, to be in the moment of awe, to just look around and be present. And instead of the destination, the exercise, it was hold on, I'm in this amazing setting, and allowing for that, allowing even that slowdown to pause, and catching my husband too and be oh my gosh, this is so great. So yeah.
Yeah, and you couldn't hold on to it forever, but yet you could
Yeah.
really savor it. And I
Yeah, because we
love
couldn't
that.
stay in the forest forever, right? Oh, I just want this forever. And now it's beautiful today too. As much as I love snow, I'm also honoring the little bit of balmy weather we have today and the sunshine, even though it's taking that snow away. It's like we can also appreciate a multitude of things. And if we take a moment to look and shift perspective, yeah. All right. All right. So are we shifting to Laurel? Laurel's back in with us. I think you're on mute. Yeah.
Yep. Julie, are you finished?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I would just like to emphasize again that all of your feelings are okay, that they're all sharing with you some aspect of yourself that needs attention. So trying not to judge any feelings as good or bad. We're not taught when we're young to look at our anger, look at our sadness, and to be validated. It's not a thing that comes naturally to us. We kind of have to learn it, to empathize, how to put ourselves in someone else's shoes a bit. You know, how might they be feeling? And it's okay however they're feeling, because again, it's okay however you're feeling. So appreciating all emotions, honoring them all. They all have a voice and they all want to be heard. So in our guided meditation, in your meditation, trying not to judge the outcome of your meditation. Like, oh, that meditation was bad today. My mind was just running amok like a squirrel jumping from tree to tree. It's going to be that way sometimes, for sure. And then when you realize you're lost in a tree with a squirrel, you gently come back to your breath in your body, returning home again and again to yourself, your home in your body. And that's the practice. It's simple as that. There's no fancy way, of doing this. Just honoring where your mind is at and where your nervous system is at. And that's why we're sharing with Heidi in the yoga and breath work and meditation, to calming the nervous system and to letting you coming back home be a safe, comfortable place to come back home to. So there are no goals to achieve. I'm just kind of looking over my notes to make sure I shared everything. And no attachment to outcome. Like we've said, some of your guided meditation times are, you might try not to judge them. It is what it is. And there's no goal, there's nothing to achieve other than being with yourself, honestly. Going inward with your breath, allowing your breath to anchor you into this precious present moment. So, just for a few minutes now, we're going to have a grounding meditation. So, you can close your eyes if you'd like to, or fuzzy gaze down, or looking at something pleasant in your surroundings. This is a plant or something pretty that you want to look at. That can be your focus also. So, now bringing your awareness back to your breath in your nostrils, noticing the temperature of your next in breath. Is it cool or warm? And your next out breath. And noticing if you're holding your breath in any way and just letting it go. Letting your belly soften in your chest. And on your next exhalation, allowing your shoulders and jaw to drop a little bit more. Melting into this present moment of nowhere to go, nothing to do, just being you, being here in your body with your breath. Hello, breath. Hello, friend. Thank you for breathing me. Thank you for sustaining me. Now, maybe feeling the temperature of your room against your skin, your clothing against your skin. And noticing if your breath is being held in any way and allowing it to float like the gentle waves on the ocean. Easy in, easy out. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, just being here present. Now guiding your awareness to your feet, in your socks or your shoes or barefoot, wiggling your toes a bit, and starting to gently feel that connection to the earth as best you can. Your feet grounded to the earth as though you had roots like a tree, grounding you deeply, deeply into the earth for strength, stability, maybe even a oneness with it all, a connection, deeply, deeply connected. And now breathing these qualities up through your left sole, left foot, left calf, left thigh, into your left hip. And now breathing these qualities up through your right sole, right calf, right thigh, and right hip. And now feeling the full weight of your body on what you're sitting. And notice whatever you notice, wherever your mind has gone to, just observing where it's gone with curiosity, with a little bit of wonderment. Hello, thought. How are you today? And then gently guiding your awareness back to your breath. And then you might find you're lost in an emotion, a feeling state. Oh, hello, feeling. What's going on? I'm here to listen to you. What do you need? Oh, okay. I'll try to do that. I'll tend to you. Yeah, sounds good. And then gently and kindly bring your awareness back to your breath. Now gently bringing your awareness back to your room, your feet grounded to the earth, and noticing, taking this time now to notice what you're feeling without judgment, what you're thinking without judgment, and holding them both with kindness and compassion. And kindness to you like you would share kindness with a 5-year-old. That 5-year-old is still in you. And the teenager. Just sharing that kindness with that part of you. Letting that part know. You'll check in with it as much as you can. Maybe at least once a day. To see what it needs. See what you need together. How you can better help each other. And how you can hold multiple emotions. You can hold multiple emotions at the same time. Julie was talking about this. Like you can hold sadness and joy. You can hold contentment, peace, and frustration. We're multiple faceted human beings. We can hold a lot. So honoring it all and how much you can hold and how you tend to yourself as best you can in the moment. You're doing what you can do every moment with the knowledge you have, the wisdom, and we will grow in time and years, not to look back and judge or shame ourselves for not knowing. So we did the best we could at that time. So now we're going to slowly open things up for sharing in the chat, for sharing to hear your voice. Yes. Heidi or Julie, would you like to share anything right now? Let's see, Julie, you're on mute. Yeah, you're off. Yeah. How are you both
Yeah.
feeling?
Yeah, thank you for that, Laurel. It's I really appreciate Julie sharing and your sharing and that reminder, and that I can hold more emotions than I limit myself to.
It can be very fast, it can, that's why I shared that experience with the Dalai Lama. Like, it doesn't cheapen like sometimes we feel like, oh, I have to grieve the situation. And that's totally legitimate. But then having a moment of joy afterwards doesn't cheapen that. It's still that grief moment was just as rich and valid as that joy moment. And I think that's why I wanted to share that.
Yes, yes. All the moments are rich. All the moments have something to share. Yeah, yeah.
I find that as a parent, as a mom, super helpful, because I have moments of that I can hold that sadness of, oh, my littles, my 3 daughters when they were just babies and toddlers, and then also remembering like, oh, I missed that, and oh, that was hard too. Just like now, they're grown and experiencing the joy of having 3 teenagers in the house, and how that's challenging, but there's a lot of sweetness there too, and kind of finding that path where they can merge the memories and the present and the collective of it. Yeah.
You almost have to practice finding positive and joy, because our brains are a little negative bias, because we're looking for danger, and it's kept us safe. So good on you, brain. But if we couldn't fall down a pit where we don't allow ourselves that to feel worthy or something, and that's important too.
Right. It, like, exactly, Julie. It's like honoring that child part of us that is in the moment. You remember back to age 4, 5, 6. You're in the moment. You're in wonder and awe a lot of the time.
And also crying, So
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
they're a great example. My 6-year-old's a great example of like looking like, in one moment she's like at the end, just full of tears, and then like, ooh, look at this little hamster I made out of a piece of paper, and it's just so fast. And it's like, well, we have that capacity too, and mindful awareness allows us more of that dynamic flexibility. I saw that in my research participants when I studied these long-term practitioners. They were like that. It was really quite remarkable. It was almost childlike and funny, and not at all like, I am a meditator.
Yeah.
Right. And children don't judge. Oh, bad feeling. Like, oh, I was just crying. That's horrible. Or I cool and I'm on the floor screaming. They know they need to get it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing up children, Heidi.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, you got us going, Heidi.
Well, I want to share too this piece of sometimes I will be stubborn about it and be in life like I'm validating I'm in a bad mood. I'm having a really hard time getting myself out of that bad mood. And then I get even harder on myself of like, why does it all have to be on me to get myself out of it? Right? And I'll go, oh, what was me? And then there'll be moments like being in the forest or being with others that I don't have to do this alone. I don't have to carry that weight that, oh, I'm going to go hang out with my daughters, or talk to my husband, or text with a friend, or go for a walk outside. Let nature be the thing that helps me. That yeah, so that reminder that we can feel like we have this weight of having to be so in control of it all, when just know that when we can lean in, right? That leaning into moments of joy, or to be supported in allowing ourselves to kind of to
Connect.
shift if we want to. I say I'm stubborn sometimes. I'm like, when I'm ready to shift, like to reach out or just welcome in. My daughter, one last thing, my daughter, who's a teenager, was flexing her teenage muscle when she came home from school, flexing it in a way of like, oh man, do I need to take her phone away type of flexing. And I was just like taking a pause. And then the next thing, she comes in and she had, how was your day, mommy? Like, oh, sweet. And it's like, oh, she was just being a teenager. She was just being her. But then she even shifted to be like, hey, how are you? How are you? And then that helped me. How we can co-regulate together is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you,
so
Heidi.
honoring that it is
1 o'clock. Yeah.
just to reminder to do the daily practice sequence, and maybe try to add that breath of joy if you found that delightful, and having a light touch and not trying to force yourself, as we were just talking about, but maybe just putting ourselves into an environment like Laurel and Heidi just mentioned, where it might come easier to see joyful sights, sounds, being with people that are going to spark that for us. So thank you very much, and
Yes.
you have a wonderful afternoon.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.